She was a cheerful baby with energy, her chubby cheeks earning her the nickname Little Peach. Although given up at birth for adoption, the little girl named Jung In blossomed under the loving care of foster parents. When she was 7 months old, a so-called perfect family came along to adopt her. Jung In was a 16-month-old baby girl from Seoul, South Korea who was abused and tortured by her adoptive parents for 271 days, 8 months, and in the end died of severe abdominal injuries on October 13, 2020. Her original last name is In itself and her adoptive full name was An Yulha. Her adoptive mother, Jang Hae-yeong, has been charged with murder and child abuse. Her adoptive father, An Sunjun, has only been charged with child abuse and neglect as he claimed he was unaware of the abusive acts of his wife. The trials for this case is still ongoing and a verdict is expected to be announced around May 14, 2021. The death of Jung In sparked national outrage and international awareness, including the perceived failure of the police to press charges against her adoptive parents even when 3 suspicious child abuse reports were filed by daycare teachers, a mommy friend and a pediatrician who examined Jung In and found multiple bruises on her body such as significant weight loss as the evidence of abuse and malnutrition. The workers from Holt International Children's Services also failed in the follow-ups after the abuse was reported to them. On October 13, 2020, Jung In was brought to the hospital by the adoptive mother Jang by taxi and died few hours after cardiac arrest. The court scan and autopsy showed that her abdomen was full of blood, 80% of her blood, multiple bone fractures in collarbone, ribs and arms. Some of the bones were broken again after self-healing 4 months ago, countless bruises on her faces, necks, ears, legs. And the cause of death was amputation of pancreas and trauma damage of her internal organs including severe intestines rupture, which caused by heavy external forces. The forensic doctor testified in the 4th trial that he suspected that there was at least another fatal beating around 3-5 days before Jung In died, which was the public holidays in South Korea and both adoptive parents were at home. On January 2, 2021, an episode of the investigative show Unanswered Questions analyzed what may have happened to Jung In, and was aired on the South Korean broadcaster SBS. The show went viral and sparked national outrage in South Korea. Thousands of protesters and children's rights activists demanded the government to reform the laws to better protect children from abuse and plead maximum penalty for the adoptive parents Jang and An. The Sorry Jung In online campaign was also created to seek for raising awareness against child abuse and especially Jung In's case. Jung In was born on June 10, 2019 as a full-term and healthy baby weight at 3.43 kilograms. 7 pounds 9 ounces. Her birth mother was incapable to take care of her, hence gave her up to a church when Jung In was just 8 days old. Jung In then spent 8 months in a foster mom's home with love and care until she was adopted. According to the foster mom, Jung In was a very happy and cheerful baby who loved music and always smiled regardless. On August 2019, Jung In was matched with Jang and An after they applied to adopt a baby girl. Jang and An already has a 4-year-old biological daughter but claimed that they wanted a baby sister for their daughter. The adoptive parents passed the adoptive screening including the psychological test and qualified for adoption. Jung In moved in with them in February 2020. She weighed 8.5 kilograms, 18.8 pounds, when she was officially adopted by Jang and An. Adoptive mother, Jang Hae-yeong, born November 4, 1986, attended Handong University. Her father Jang Young-gil is a pastor in Yangdeok Pohang Disciples Church while her mother Jang Yoon-hee owns Big Circle Daycare Center which belongs to Pugang Disciples Church. Adoptive father, An Sunjun, born June 18, 1984, attended Handong University and worked in CBS. His father An Hee-gil is also a pastor in Andong Baptist Church, Gyeongbuk while in the same household with Jang Hae-yeon and An Sunjun for 8 months, 271 days. Jung In was systematically abused and tortured in many brutal ways. The abuse included regularly beaten which caused multiple bone fractures, starved her because they didn't like the smell of her poop, served the hot temperature food right after taking out from the microwave, which caused blisters and wounds in the mouth, left her alone at home for over 3 hours for at least 15 times during the 2 months absent from daycare, July 2020 to September 2020, locked her in a dark room every day after 7 p.m., slapped her and tore her mouth when she was crying, overturned her stroller to scare her when she was crying, deliberately tripped her while she was walking and laughed loudly, left her alone alongside the swimming pool for whole day without guardian, and hung her arms up to hit her armpit area as it was a very sensitive area so would cause tremendous pain. On October 12, 2020, Jung In was sent to daycare in a bad condition. According to the daycare teachers, she couldn't walk, stand, drink nor eat all day. Her belly seemed swollen and big, but she didn't fuss nor cry at all. Her diaper was also dry for hours without any urine passing. The teachers called the adoptive mother and she checked in for a few minutes and left saying nothing to worry about. However, Jung In was not okay. She had no energy and seemed very weak. After being so dehydrated, she finally took a few sips of milk that the teacher tried to feed her with, but she immediately panted after drinking some fluid and her whole body was shivering. When the adoptive father picked her up in the afternoon, the teacher expressed her concern about Jung In's health and how she didn't walk all day. At the moment, the adoptive father forced Jung In to take a few steps forwards to him, trying to prove that she was okay by the daycare footage. The teachers asked the adoptive father to please take Jung In to the hospital immediately, but he didn't. The next day on October 13, 2020, the adoptive mother recorded with her phone to force Jung In to walk at around 8:46 am 9:01 am. In the video, Jung In seemed to be in huge pain, crying, yet the adoptive mother was yelling loudly and screaming at Jung In asking her to walk. At around 9:40 am the neighbors from downstairs heard some extremely loud noises from above as if dumbbells falling on the ground about 4,5 times. The neighbor went upstairs to check if everything was okay, but only Jang answered the door while her biological daughter peeked out. Jang apologized for the noise and said everything was okay. Then Jang called the daycare claiming Jung In's absence to daycare on the day. Around 10:19 am, the adoptive mother took her big daughter to the daycare and even stopped by a lingerie store on the way home. In the surveillance, Jung In didn't appear with them, so she was alone at home again. Then finally she called a taxi to bring Jung In to the hospital. The taxi driver saw that Jung In was turning blue and unconscious, so he asked the adoptive mother to call the ambulance instead, but she refused. After several rounds of cardiac arrest and rescue in the Jung In passed away on October 13, 2020 at the age of 16 months old. While Jung In was fighting for her life in the adoptive mother was online shopping for fish cake outside of the room. The autopsy and forensic doctor testified in the trial that Jung In's case is by far the worst child abuse case he's ever seen in his 20 years of experience. Out of the 3,800 bodies he's examined, in pediatric perspective, Jung In had the worst injuries and her entire body was severely harmed from head to toe. The forensic doctor has never seen pancreas ruptured in pediatric case, and he concluded that Jung In was probably stepped on multiple times on her stomach by adults. Only extreme strong force applying on her abdomen would cause such rupture of her internal organs. Additionally, based on some recovery tissues found in Jung In's organs, the doctors also believed that there was another severe beating happened 3-5 days before her death, just it wasn't fatal. The last few days in Jung In's life was in extreme pain, even breathing hurt, and this also explained why she couldn't cry in daycare when she was last seen alive, because even crying hurt. As a father, I am heartbroken. I am so angry that I cannot find the words to express it truly. My hands are shaking as I write this, and I can feel a lump in my throat. Jung In deserved a better world, one where she could grow up safely and surrounded by people who love her. Can you imagine how scared, confused, and helpless she must have felt during her last months? The fear and pain that she experienced daily, but not being able to communicate those emotions. I am so frustrated that nothing I can do except hope that justice will be served. Netizens have expressed their outrage about this news by sharing the hashtags #SorryJungIn to raise awareness. They also called for the police officers who ignored earlier reports of suspected child abuse to face the consequences.